Today I'm taking you along to do some homemaking at 40 weeks pregnant. I am about to have our baby girl any day now, and we have been patiently waiting for her to come. And I'm just trying to keep myself busy by doing things around the house to keep my mind off of the due date and just trying to patiently await labor. If you've ever been to 40 weeks pregnant, you know that it is just kind of a mind game waiting for your baby to come. You just never know when they're going to come. So we are starting off with some coffee, and I'm putting some bone broth protein in there for some extra nutrients and protein. I'm really trying to soak in these last days of it just being me and my husband, as this is our first baby, and just really enjoying being able to do whatever I want whenever I want, because I know that's going to end very soon. But I'm just starting off today by making my sourdough sandwich bread. I started this the day before, and this is in the morning, and it has risen overnight and it's ready to be shaped. This is my sourdough sandwich bread recipe that is on my blog, and I will link the blog in the description box of this video if you want to also make it. I'm just shaping it into a log form. This isn't pretty or graceful, so just kind of mess with it until it's in a log form. Sometimes the top of it gets crusty if you're letting it rise overnight, so I just kind of mix that in and it turns out just fine. And then put it into a loaf pan and cover it up. This is gonna sit in a warm place for 2 to 4 hours, and it's going to do that until it's doubled in size. And we keep our house around 68 degrees, so I actually will let this rise for around 5 hours, and it was perfect after 5 hours. But the amount of rise time really just depends on the temperature of your house, so keep that in mind when working with anything sourdough. It's really dependent on the temperature. Although I do have my sourdough sandwich bread recipe on my blog, I am taking the time to write it out in my recipe box. I am really just a pen to paper type of person, and I really wanted to get this written down because I'm not like always pulling out my phone when I'm going to make a recipe, and I don't always have them memorized, so I like to have everything in my recipe box. My sister-in-law was so kind, and she sent us this little package with a Snuggle Me for the baby, and I am just so glad that we have this. Our baby is here now at the time of this voiceover, and we have used it every single day, multiple times a day, so I'm really, really glad that she sent this over before the baby came. The other day I made homemade yogurt in my Instant Pot, and I also made some homemade granola, and these were both a first for me. I've never made those two things from scratch, but that is my lunch for today, just some yogurt, fruit, and my homemade granola. And this was so good, and I'm just having some pineapple on the side, and I know that they say pineapple can induce labor, but that's not why I'm eating it. I'm eating it because I truly was just craving pineapple, and oh my gosh, it is so good. I need to buy pineapple more often. Making homemade granola was one of the easiest things I think I've ever done, and I'm not sure why I waited so long to try doing it, but from now on I think I'm just going to make it myself, because if you buy granola from the store and look at the ingredients, it is just loaded with sugar and a bunch of just unnecessary ingredients. So I will be making this from scratch from now on. Now the yogurt, on the other hand, that was definitely a process. I'm pouring myself a glass of my NORA tea, and if you've never heard of NORA tea, it stands for nettle, oat straw, red raspberry, and alfalfa, or it's also called pregnancy tea. And this tea just has so many benefits to pregnant women, and I make it all the time. I make sure to drink this every single day, about a quart of this every single day. And in the next clip, I'm going to show you guys exactly how to make it and give you the recipe for it. So stay tuned for that. It actually is really good. I don't put any sweetener in this. I try to stay away from sweeteners, especially like stevia. I'm learning is not that great. So I just drink it plain, and it's really, really good. So here is the recipe for the NORA tea. You can screenshot this if you want to make it yourself. And a lot of midwives recommend this tea blend specifically, but it's not like good for every pregnant woman. So definitely talk to your midwife or your doctor before drinking this. If you have preeclampsia or a history of preeclampsia or gestational diabetes, it's probably not the best tea for you. So you really should be careful and talk to your healthcare provider before making this. That's my little disclaimer. But I am putting all of the ingredients, the herbs, into a quart-sized mason jar. And these herbs are from Star West Botanicals. They came in these massive bags. I guess I didn't expect them to be this massive, so it was hard finding storage for all these since we have a smaller pantry. So just be aware of that. But we are mixing this together, and when you're making this tea, make sure you're stopping to mix it together with a knife or something, because it can kind of get really dense, and you want to make sure that everything's well incorporated. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm making more of this when I'm almost due, but you can drink this tea like into postpartum, and there's also a lot of benefits of drinking it in postpartum as well to help with like the bleeding and pain, cramps, stuff like that. So you can also drink this postpartum. So that's why I am making more of it. And this doesn't go bad. So if I have this for future pregnancies as well. Now my bread has doubled in size, as you can see, so this is going into the oven at 375 for about 45 minutes. And I'm not doing an egg wash on the top of this. I only do egg washes when I want my bread to look really nice, if I'm taking it somewhere for a holiday or something like that. So no egg wash, just for our everyday daily bread. But when it does come out of the oven, I do like to put butter on the top of it. This just helps it to stay moist and keep the moisture in there. And then also, when I am done brushing the top with butter, I will cover this with a towel while it's cooling, and I think that also helps to keep the bread moist. It is the next day. The day before, I just was done and wanted to be done. I can only do so much in a day while being this pregnant without just being completely exhausted. So today we are taking pictures of this sandwich bread for my blog post. I'm just setting up a little props here with some butter and some fresh eggs. So that is some behind the scenes of what it does, what it takes to make a blog post. If you don't know, I am a professional wedding photographer, so I do have good photography equipment. to take pictures of stuff for my blog, which is really nice because, you know, iPhone pictures just don't cut it. So I'm bringing out my nice camera and we're taking some nice pictures for my blog. Every year around Christmas time, I like to make some sort of Christmas cookie. Last year, I hosted a Christmas cookie exchange party, and that was so fun, just with the women in my family. We made so many cookies and exchanged them at the party, but I am not doing that this year because of how pregnant I am. I just didn't know when baby was going to be here, and that's just a lot of work to make that many cookies. So we are just making some sugar cookies just for my husband and I and anybody that comes to visit. I'm just doing one type of cookie. Sugar cookies are my favorite and they're just such a classic. So that's what we're making today. I always put my hands like this over the KitchenAid whenever I'm mixing anything with like a loose powder or a flour, because if you have a KitchenAid and you've made stuff a lot, you know that it just flies out of the sides. So I either do that or put a towel over it. So who else? Does anybody else do that? I really do have a love-hate relationship with sugar cookies because the dough is really hard to work with before it's refrigerated, and it just is just sticky mess. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just hard to work with. But that's why we refrigerate it. So I'm rolling this into two separate sections and putting it into the fridge for at least 2 hours. And also, this is just a side note, this plastic wrap is from Aldi and it is trash. Do not buy it. The cutter doesn't work on the box and the plastic wrap doesn't really cling to anything. So just forewarning you. It's been 2 hours and the dough is ready to be rolled out and cut into its shapes. And this is just a tip if you've never made sugar cookies before. Don't flour your counter when rolling it out. Put down powdered sugar. That it really helps with the sticking, and also it won't like make your cookies taste like flour. So just use powdered sugar. It really works super well. This was the first round of sugar cookies, and I made this batch way too thin, and I partially burnt half of these because there's my love-hate relationship with sugar cookies again. They're really finicky, especially with the oven time. I ended up having to put these in the oven for exactly 9 minutes and rotating the pan halfway through, because if you don't do that, they're just gonna cook unevenly. as you can see, some of these cookies in the first batch did burn, so I did throw some of those out. And this is the second batch going in. These ones turned out so much better because I was able to adjust a few things. But this is what you want the cookies to look like, and you don't want the bottom to have any sort of color at all. You want them to look like this. Frosting the cookies is my least favorite part about making these because I just can never make icing look pretty on cookies or cakes for that matter. And I always mess up these piping bags. I realized when I was snipping off the end of this that you're supposed to put the piping tip in to the piping bag first before you put the frosting in, but I didn't do that, and this is me realizing that like right here. I was like, oh yeah, I definitely messed that up. So I yeah, these just did not look good. I just had to kind of wing it, and these ended up looking like a child made them, but it's all right. They were really tasty. And I am ending this video by opening up my Thrive Market order. I just recently subscribed to Thrive Market because I guess I was just curious of what they had, and I subscribed. So they do have a few things that I do, a few brands that I really like the Siete and the Redmond's Real Salt. And yeah, they just have some good, healthier options. So this is my order. Got these poppies for my husband, and this Epsom salt doesn't have fragrance in it, which the Dr. Teal's does. I just realized that. So I got some Epsom salt, beef tallow, and this Rayo's spaghetti sauce in the pasta was a free gift I got from like a promotion. So that was super nice. And then I got some olive oil, but that was it for Thrive Market. If you use Thrive Market, comment below your staples. But that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and in the next video I will have a little baby probably strapped to my chest. Bye, guys.